The Ginger Man, by J.P. Donleavy, is a novel filled with humor, chaos, and the escapades of its infamous protagonist, Sebastian Dangerfield. Set in post-World War II Dublin, the book is a mixture of dark comedy and biting social commentary, centering around the life of a young American law student who is more focused on living recklessly than attending to his responsibilities. The novel opens with Sebastian Dangerfield, an American studying at Trinity College, living a life of disarray with his English wife, Marion, and their baby daughter, Felicity. The couple lives in squalor in a shabby, run-down house, barely able to make ends meet. Dangerfield, however, is indifferent to the poverty he and his family face. He is driven by his appetite for pleasure, chasing women, drinking heavily, and indulging in reckless behavior. His irresponsibility and selfishness put his family in a dire situation, and Marion is often left to fend for herself and their child while Dangerfield is off pursuing his next self-serving adventure. Dangerfield's life is a mess of contradictions. Though he is enrolled in law school, he shows little interest in his studies. He has a sharp intellect, but he uses it not for academic achievement, but to manipulate others for his own gain. His charm and wit allow him to make friends easily, though these relationships often end in chaos, betrayal, or disaster. Dangerfield's antics continually lead him into trouble, but he never fully faces the consequences, moving from one disaster to the next with a mix of arrogance and oblivion. His marriage to Marion deteriorates as Dangerfield's behavior grows increasingly erratic and unfaithful. Marion is often pushed to the brink of frustration by his irresponsibility and lack of support, but she is torn between leaving him and the hope that he might change. Eventually, after a series of arguments and Sebastian's increasing neglect, Marion leaves him, taking the daughter with her. This departure leaves Dangerfield to spiral even further out of control, now free to pursue his vices without any pretense of domestic responsibility. After Marion's departure, Dangerfield's life becomes even more chaotic. He begins living an even more hedonistic lifestyle, moving through various escapades and relationships with little thought of the future. He finds companionship in a fellow student, Kenneth O'Keefe, and the two men share in each other's debauchery. However, their friendship is strained by Dangerfield's manipulative and often cruel behavior toward O'Keefe, who is often left hurt or betrayed by Sebastian's actions. Despite this, O'Keefe admires Dangerfield's carefree approach to life, though he ultimately grows disillusioned with his friend's destructive ways. The novel portrays Dangerfield's descent into further recklessness as he continues to lie, cheat, and manipulate his way through life. His pursuit of short-term pleasures and disregard for societal norms create a string of comic and tragic situations. Dangerfield's charm helps him escape many of the immediate consequences of his behavior, but the toll of his actions mounts over time. While The Ginger Man is often comedic in its portrayal of Dangerfield's antics, it also offers a critique of the post-war social order, the emptiness of modern life, and the struggles of those trying to find meaning in a world that seems increasingly chaotic. Dangerfield, in many ways, embodies the existential crisis of the time, a man who rebels against the constraints of society, yet ultimately finds no satisfaction or fulfillment in his freedom. As the novel progresses, it becomes clear that Dangerfield's actions are not sustainable. His relationships with women, particularly his romantic entanglements, end in disaster, and his charm begins to wear thin on those around him. Despite all his attempts to evade responsibility and consequences, there is a sense that Dangerfield's lifestyle cannot continue indefinitely. His chaotic behavior leaves him increasingly isolated, as even his closest friends and allies grow tired of his antics. By the end of the novel, Dangerfield is left in a state of uncertainty. He continues to live with the same reckless abandon that has defined him from the start, but the narrative leaves open the question of how long he can continue on this path without facing a final reckoning. His journey is one of self-destruction, but also of a kind of twisted freedom, as he remains unapologetically himself in the face of societal expectations and norms. The Ginger Man is both a darkly comedic novel and a poignant exploration of the human condition. Dangerfield is a character who is both repellent and fascinating, embodying the tensions of a post-war world where traditional values are breaking down, and individuals are left to carve out their own paths, often at great personal cost. J.P. Donleavy's novel captures the anarchic spirit of its protagonist while offering a sharp critique of the world in which he operates, making it a landmark work of 20th century literature. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for other interesting book summaries to spice up your reading list.